For a very long time, Star Wars fans have been discussing what it means to be the chosen one of the Force. At first, everyone thought that Anakin was the one who would bring balance to the Force and finally put an end to the dark side. In fact, for a very long time, people thought that that was the case, as Anakin redeemed himself after his heroic sacrifice, eventually fulfilling his role as the Chosen One. Anakin held that title for a very long time. But all of that changed when the newer Star Wars trilogy premiered and revealed that the dark side was not destroyed. On the contrary, it became stronger than it ever was in the original trilogy. It led Luke Skywalker to almost kill his own nephew, Ben Solo. Does this mean that the efforts made by the Chosen One were in vain? Or did we misunderstood what the Chosen One of the Force really means? Today we're going to explore a theory that states that Baby Yoda could be the real Chosen One. The origin of the Chosen One comes from an old Jedi prophecy that states the following: "A chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored." This prophecy has multiple interpretations. The first and original one that the Jedi had was that the Chosen One would destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. Anakin was the one who was best suited for this prophecy, as his mother became pregnant without having a partner, and he had a very high midichlorian count, higher than any Jedi at the time, the one who was conceived by the Force itself. The moment when Anakin turns to the dark side, Yoda admits that the Jedi may have misinterpreted the prophecy. However, this doesn't mean that Yoda discarded the prophecy. It means that he saw Anakin's fall into darkness as proof of an error on their part. Years later, Anakin destroyed Emperor Palpatine, but nothing was accomplished. Palpatine transferred his consciousness into another body, making Anakin's sacrifice pointless. The apparent Chosen One did not fulfill his purpose, but his grandson developed a bigger power with the Force. Enter Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren. He was capable of stopping blaster shots in midair, materialize objects out of thin air using the Force, and was even able to resurrect Rey. Anakin couldn't save his own mother, who died in his arms, and his path towards the dark side resulted in Padme's death. This created a deep fear of death in him, and Palpatine took advantage of that fear in order to manipulate him. Anakin could not save anybody, but Kylo did when he saved the one person he loved, Rey. Rey was also able to do something that the Chosen One could not, putting an end to the Sith by killing Palpatine once and for all. The moment that Rey was about to finish off Sidious, she said, "I am all the Jedi." More than just a one-liner to wrap things up, it was a phrase that showed us that the Chosen One is really about all of the Jedi. All of those who are on the light side of the Force could represent this Chosen One. If the original prophecy was misunderstood, then the Chosen One is not necessarily an individual. The Force needs to find balance, and does it by creating either a lone Chosen One or many. Anakin was born at a time where he was needed to eventually stop Palpatine's plans, so he did. Based on the Darth Plagueis novel, Plagueis, along with his then apprentice Palpatine, tried to shift the Force into the dark side. At first, Plagueis believed that the Force would eventually destroy him, but there were no short-term consequences. Later on, he understood that because of his actions, the Force's retaliation was the birth of Anakin, or the Chosen One of the Force. Plagueis was later murdered by Palpatine, so the Chosen One's new purpose was to deal with Sidious. Anakin could not fulfill his role as Palpatine managed to cheat death, which went against the will of the Force, or the ones behind it, but that's for another time. Due to Palpatine's survival, the disruption of the Force became bigger, so the Force ended up creating what we know as the Force Dyad. The Dyad is a version of the Chosen One composed by two people, and those two who were able to defeat Palpatine were Kylo Ren and Rey. They both fulfilled the prophecy. Kylo had to kill his own father, Han Solo, in order to be reborn as Ben Solo, thus becoming someone who was born of no father, and Rey was an orphan. This wouldn't be the first time that the Force attempted to use a duo to defeat Palpatine. Luke and Leia were a similar team to the one composed of Rey and Kylo, the differences being that the younger generation were not related by blood, and Leia never completed her Jedi training. We could label the siblings as the Force Dyad version 1, but it never fully developed, thus Palpatine managed to survive. This makes this dyad a bit obscure. Even though they were similar to Kylo Ren, as Luke and Leia had already lost their father, Anakin Skywalker, when they were born. So what does any of this have to do with Baby Yoda? Let's start by answering that very question, in stating that the Chosen One is not a specific person, but a task given by the Force when there is an unbalance that must be corrected. During his time, Palpatine was preparing for a threat so large that it could destroy the entire universe. But now that he is no more, that task falls onto Rey whenever this mysterious enemy finally arrives. The dyad was broken when Kylo Ren died, which means that Rey is not as strong as she should be. And the only reason why she was able to defeat Palpatine was because all of the Jedi joined forces to help her with a Force overcharge that made her victorious. But it was not to last. She needs something a little more permanent, like once again being a dyad, opening the possibility for a certain someone to be the dyad partner she needs. Someone powerful with the Force that can fulfill the prophecy and join Rey in the dangers she will face in the future. That second chosen one of the Force could be none other than the child. Rey and Baby Yoda could become the new Force dyad, one more powerful than those before, ready to face any imminent danger. Baby Yoda has shown great skill in the use of the Force, and if he is indeed a clone, he also fits the description provided by the prophecy as one without parents. Remember that being the Chosen One is basically a title given by the Force, or the ones behind it, as it chooses the right person to restore balance. The Force is not just some kind of energy, the Force has a will of its own. George Lucas originally planned a sequel trilogy focusing on the wills, microscopic beings that control the destiny of the galaxy. But by selling Lucasfilm to the Walt Disney Company, these plans for the sequel trilogy were dropped. But the idea still lives in part within the Clone Wars mythology. This means that the Force could pretty much be controlled by intelligent beings, and they are the ones who choose who will be the next Chosen One, be it an individual or a dyad. This goes even deeper, but we will talk about it some other time. But what about you? Could there be a new story unfolding? Will Baby Yoda join Rey and stand up against this new threat? And please don't forget, subscribe to our new channel, Mandalorian Universe.